Hey, code.org, Unit 7, Lesson 5, getting into libraries. For this one, I'm not going to go through the preloaded slideshow that comes to the teachers. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you've done that in class. It's pretty straightforward, but I will offer just a little bit more of my own personal definition of a library. Basically, a library is a shared piece of code, typically a function in this case in code.org, and it allows us to create a function that we might want to use across multiple apps and or share with others to use. And we've actually been using a library all semester. The math section in our toolbox, we have used math.round. And what we will notice as we continue is there is actually a library called math. And if you were to go back and look at that particular function call for math.round, math is capitalized, then the dot, what that means is that code is coming from the math library and the name of the function is round. Now, the things that need to happen for a piece of code to be a good candidate to be stored in a library. Number one, the function needs to be self-contained. There doesn't need to be anything else outside of that function that is needed in order for the function to operate. And that typically at this stage is we're going to focus on all of our variables that are used in the function being local variables. If you have a global variable that you refer to in a function that you want to export into a library, there's going to be problems because if someone else is pulling it, then they don't have that variable declared, and then it's not good. So this particular problem, evaluate if the following function is a good candidate to be placed in a library, why or why not. There's my bell. It is not, because player 1 points and player 2 points are variables that have been declared elsewhere. Now, whoever created this function, it may work fine in their original program that it was designed for, because if player 1 points and player 2 points has global scope, it's no issue for it to work within that function. But if they say, hey, I want to use this later in a different game, they're going to have to remember to declare the variable player 1 points, player 2 points. So there are workarounds, but this is not ideal. Ideally, we would declare player 1 points with a VAR, declare player 2 points with a VAR, and declare that inside the function, and then it would be a great candidate. Alrighty, so that is lesson 5.